Yep, you're on camera.
Okay, I'm on, they said. I said, and then we smile. Take a breath. I need to take a breather. And from the mountaintops of ancient Lemuria, greetings and welcome to conscious creators in love, in the love and the light of Master Kirill and Master Kahu Fred. I can feel their light presence of their truth, trust, and passion. Kahu's light is on my left side, and Kirill is on my right side. Can you see them? Maybe by the time your six senses are heightened, you at the end of this program, you will be able to see them. We hope. The legacy of Master Guides Kirill and Kahu continues. I, Patty Athena Sterling, will try my heart's best to facilitate carrying on the conscious creator legacy forward, because I know how our combined effort to consciously move forward to age our soul. Kahu said to me this morning, you are the architect. New thought changes, transforms your world. Your thoughts are evolutionary. So I bow to you, conscious creators, in love and gratitude for your presence here and now. Thank you for your love and support and light in your determination to age your soul during these shifting times. Today's topic, weaving the cycles with the sixth sense. This topic was inspired by Kahu and Kirill for the purpose of raising our awareness as to the importance of being a conscious creator, especially during this year, 2024. In the passion for change, healing happens, which transforms into new levels of understanding. In a collective effort to continue the timeless legacy of Kahu and Kirill, please shine your light to the ladies on my right side joining me today. They will share their thoughts on this topic. Kahu and Kirill lovingly call them the ladies. These ladies are actively in the healing process of healing back to their goddess love. Ladies, please introduce yourself.
Susanna. Aloha, welcome. I'm Susanna, Green Goddess Light, and yeah, that's it. I'm here expanding my consciousness of cycles.
Tell me how long you've been with, or we call that, expanding your consciousness with the Kirill Kahu material, wisdom. How long have you been doing that?
I don't know, 1990 something.
Almost from the very beginning.
Oh, wow.
Wow. 30 plus years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, wow. Maybe before that.
Yes.
In the 1990s. I don't know, when did we write the book, the first book?
Anyway, good.
It's
So
in
you've
the
been,
90s.
You've been immersed in the beauty and the wisdom of Kahu and Kirill.
And
do you like yourself so far?
Do I what?
Love yourself so far?
I
Your
love
growth?
myself better today than I did yesterday. And I say that every day.
Cool.
Because it's the conscious expanding of what self-love is.
Perfect.
And you, two green goddesses here.
Aloha. I'm Aldi Mahinaku, and I say hello to everybody. And I just noticed our Kuan, our Buddha, there's lyrics there. And so I welcome you to the program, and I hope you enjoy yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And how long have you immersed yourself in the Kahu Kirill wisdom?
It would be like 2009.
Hmm, cool.
Like 2009. I don't know, 15 years maybe?
Oh, is it 15 years ago? Really? Wow.
Is that, I don't know, is that right?
Something like that. The math part of my brain is not
Yeah.
working.
I don't know, but it's kind of like, whoa.
And then
Whoa.
we have Gail Jan, who's been. Come say hello. Over here. She is usually behind the camera, behind the computers, trying her very effort to deliver this event on the web, internet.
Anyway, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We love you.
And you've been here from the very beginning, right?
Baby.
And for myself, Patty Athena, I think I've been partners with Kahu and Kirill from the very, very beginning. beyond this lifetime.
There you go.
And the partnership is continuing. And even without their physical presence here on Earth, I'm still thinking, what gives me the so-called right to be in front of you, continuing the legacy. And Master Carol and Kabu keeps edging me on, so I think I know a lot to be shared with you all, and you know a lot to be shared with me. So in there we have the weave of exchanging our wisdom to expand our awareness. I think this is what Conscious Creator is all about. So we come together as a community to weave our knowledge. Well, is that called knowledge? Or our love and the spirit of
Knowing.
spirit of knowing to move forward during this great shift in consciousness. And I always believe that it's always about heal yourself first, and then the world is healed simultaneously. So, new thoughts changes things. I know that for a fact every day with my challenges of life. Every day, we have to be conscious of our thoughts. Otherwise, our unconscious thoughts or our repetitive thoughts rule our world, so to speak, and that's why we keep recycling our own old behavior, our old lifestyle, our own emotional, and we prevent emotional activities. I like to call that activities. And we are so unconscious sometimes but that's a habit, right? It's a habit that we go into. For at least I know, I'm saying all this because that's what I go through. The depression part, since Kahu left, the physical presence, yeah, but it's not as long as before, but I have to be conscious, and so the value of this conscious creator, monthly conscious creator, is so helpful for me to focus my journey and tell myself, you know what, I gotta be conscious. Otherwise, I'm repeating the same stuff every day, and I don't want to do that anymore. So for this topic, I read in this book, chapter 9, the whole thing. Well, the weaving the cycles in the sixth sense. This topic was inspired by Kahu Kirill for the purpose of raising our consciousness. This part is in the middle of the chapter, which I thought, oh wow, I didn't really understand that, but it got me to read the whole chapter, which then wove the rest of what I read. Is like inspired me. It's like I could feel my consciousness opening up, within me, and that expanded my awareness, as well as the importance of understanding the cycles of life, especially as humans, and we are multidimensional beings. So I'm going to ask Aldine to please read the question, and then Master Kiro's answer.
Okay, so I'll start from the beginning because I think the introduction is just really nice. Cycles of life, whether we agreed with it or not, is indeed happening to us at the cellular level. During this event, I know that the eternal loving light energy of Kahu Kiriel will be felt, and healing is also occurring at a cellular, which will move us into a new cycle of conscious awareness. I hope that the great works of Kahu Kiriel continues to serve in your efforts to bring forth your own Lemurian legacy and share it with others in confidence. Master Kiro, in defining cycles, understand that absolutely everything you can think of is the result of cycling particles. For instance, the Earth plane revolving around your sun star is a cycle. The Milky Way moving around the central sun is a cycle. And the burst of energy leaving the central sun, traveling through time and space to arrive in this very year, creates the opening forces of another cycle. Weaving cycles with 6 senses. That cycling motion makes the Creator just glow in a brand new experience. It is a world of never-ending cycles, because within yourself, you're a world of the Creator's force. Can you see yourself floating out in the beauty of the Creator's love, like your planet, like your sun star? Can you see yourself floating in the beauty of the Creator's made for you, and sensing every part of it, bringing all of it into oneness? Some of you may be breathing beautifully, and some of you may even have tears in your eyes, not for what I'm saying, but for what you are feeling that I'm saying. Hear this if you would. You are not alone. You can feel each other if you really want to. You don't have to hold hands to feel it, to sense the beauty. Imagine that there's someone in the other room. Imagine just reaching your light to him, to her, and touching the other person in his or her own cycle, and sharing that cycle together. Imagine a cycle that gives you the opportunity to take your 5 senses, smell, touch, taste, feel, and sight, all of which you have brought here to this beautiful planet called Earth, and weave them together until they form a magical thread called the 6th sense. Then, imagine that you could develop the future rather than just see it. Or imagine that you could recognize the lessons that you've learned from the past rather than dwell in the past. Imagine feeling no regret or pain about the past, not feeling as though I want to forget that part. Imagine recognizing that every step you made was in service to the God Creator. You'd understand the 6th sense that you've woven together. In this, you'd understand the time of Lemuria, where the heartbeat of Mother Earth was the way of life, not a curiosity. So check your heartbeat with Mother Earth. Check your heartbeat with Father Sky. Check your heartbeat with the love of Goddess light, and know today that those reading my words enter into a new cycle of life, a cycle of awakeness to the thread of the sixth sense.
Wow.
Wow.
To the thread of the sixth sense. I think, we are doing it unconsciously. What do you think? Do you think we're doing it unconsciously?
Absolutely.
The ones that's on their spiritual path, we are doing it unconsciously. But it takes, I think it's, if we are conscious about it, that makes us more
Sparkly.
sparkly. I love that word. She'll explain sparkle later on because she has an example of what she means by that. So, yeah. So, do you think you use your sixth sense? You're using your sixth sense already?
Yes, yes. I think all of us engage in it without knowing. I think when you're walking down the street and somebody looks at you and you give them a small smile, you send out your sparkles and it makes a difference to that person. So I think you're actually awakening. Now, what did he say? It says that your cycle of awakenness is being sensed.
Your cycle of awakeness.
I like
Yes.
that phrase.
Yes.
I,
Carol said.
when you said that, you read that last paragraph, I thought of my granddaughter. And I thought of our grandniece, who's now 8, and our grandnephew, who's now 5. And thinking back to my observations of their thinking patterns, their behaviors, is there were in that cycle of awakeness, because everything was, wow, Auntie, wow, Grandma, and this sense of wonder and wanting to learn more. So that's the cycle. And then I realized when I stopped their wonder and I stopped their exploration, then that I had this memory of my granddaughter was I called it doing Sufi spinning. And she was just doing it naturally, and then I went into my teacher mode. Okay, Kaya, now can you touch the floor while you're spinning? And I gave her instruction, and then she just stopped. And she looked at me, and she shook her head, and she went on spinning. I interrupted
how
her
does
cycle.
that relate to a cycle?
That it was her cycle of bringing some kind of balance into her 4-body system. What I understand about Sufi dancing and Sufi going in circle, that she was moving to her own cycle. But when I gave her instruction to move her body in a different way, then that just interrupted that cycle for her. And she looked at me like, what are you doing, Grandma? So it's just a small example of how children get into that rhythm of being in the cycle of awakeness, because they're moving to their own rhythm and their own sense of wonder. What would happen if I do? I don't think she was thinking, oh, what would happen if I spin? She just
Felt
heard the
like it.
music or no music, and she spins. So that's why I'm just
So our
wondering
natural
about that.
self knows what to do if you don't
Yeah.
overthink it, right? I like in the book, well, I always thought that to get into the sixth sense, we must heighten our 5 sensory experience, And interesting that lately I've been, because I'm very sensitive, so I would have allergies, I would have, and lately, and then at one point, and it's been a while until lately, that my sense of smell, I hardly had a sense of smell, but it's been coming back.
Oh, yay.
But of course, I have to deal with the unpleasant smell as well as the pleasant smell, like from flowers. But there's like a double-edged sword for me. I was always blocking that sense of smell, and ever since then it came to bud again, and then I'm smelling it. The sense of smell is heightened, and then my whole world seems to expand. Wow. So, yeah, we have to also. Is that a balancing? I wonder.
Well,
Balancing of the five senses.
tell you, that was such a
What
wonderful
page? What page?
segue to this. So if you look on page 166, grab your book, look on page 166, and we're under the riding the cycles of life, and it says in the second tiny paragraph, only when you apply the force of humanity to these cycles do they begin to bend and shape themselves, vibrating at different colors and showing themselves in the most miraculous light. You see, my friends, the cycle of life that you live in here in the third dimension is a cycle based on a balancing duality. And what did Patty just say? She's talking about balancing duality in the third dimension. That was
Right.
fabulous. Wonderful segue.
I think that's what our earth life is about, is balancing duality, right? But sometimes I find myself, really on the so-called downer side, but lately I'm getting better of, moving, trying to lessen the time being in the downer side, so to speak, because I realize that this earth plane is about balance. But someone always have to say, stop it already, You can't be in the downer side, you have to balance. I always thought, okay, and I read, I think it was in this chapter, the darkness or light. Which came first, darkness or light? Is it like the chicken and the egg came first? Yeah. So when Eve was supposed to have said, ate the apple, well, then because of that action, we dumbed down. We put our veils on so we can know the darkness and get back to lightness. So what a journey, huh?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I like the writing the cycles of life. I mean, there's so much in this chapter that I yet to understand, but from what I read with weaving the cycles with the sixth sense, I think you'll find that you already are weaving the cycles with the sixth sense. Yeah.
I believe so. Again, going back to children who come straight from the Creator Light, they're experiencing a lot of things. And I was looking at some photos of my granddaughter, and it was kind of like my son captured how the sense of wonder in her eyes as she looked at her father's eyes, or as she was looking at something else. And now with my grandson, he's got this pose that I call him the philosopher wonderment pose that Royce seems to have captured several times. That he'll look out like this, and I go, there you go again, son, you captured that pose.
So how do you relate the cycles?
It's the cycle. They're trying to make sense of what's going on because they come from the Creator Light. And here
So
they
did
are experiencing this. What is this all about? And how does it fit? So I believe they're using their sixth sense, but they're trying to make sense of the cycles of their day. Like my almost 2-month-old grandson is the cycle of creating a rhythm for himself at day and night, and and what happens, and my son goes, he only cries, he eats, sleeps, and cries, and so he's trying to make a cycle for himself, right? And how do you handle that cycle of discomfort?
Well, so in your observation, how does it change your cycle of life?
How does what? Say it again.
How does it change your cycle of life?
I'm seeing it that that's his cycle. So how do I support his cycle? And how do I support my son and daughter-in-law's cycle as they're experiencing this in my grandson? You know, so
No,
it's,
but I'm talking about you. How does that affect your cycle, your rhythm of life? Because if there's a give and take in anything that we do, if there's a reflection, how does that change your awareness of cycles, and how do you change?
I go into being more patient about what's happening in front of me and being more observant and not going into the, oh, it should be this way or that, which is the duality of the shoulds and shouldn'ts, is the duality of what's so-called right or wrong. That's what I got last night, the dual. And when I read that, cycle based on balancing duality is somewhere along the line, I believe, because I heard, this is right and this is wrong. That you do this and you do that. And if you do this, then you'll be more balanced. But who's to say if I did something different, I would also be balanced? So that was what was coming out as I was reading this chapter. And so how am I being more true to my own cycle?
Good
That
one.
was the question, you know, and lots of things came to me. And I didn't realize that with the classroom of 20 children with different temperament, there's different cycles. And how do I attune to the different cycles? And their cycles has to do with their own family rhythm.
No, but okay, that was then. You bring it to your now.
I'm bringing it that. So now I'm understanding that I was attuned to that way back when without knowing about cycles. So it was, again, focusing on the person in front of me and not make it. I have to admit, when I started teaching, I did make judgments. Oh, the children should be doing this, not this. You know, then realizing that, am I doing a person a disservice to their own cycling journey if I go with the shoulds or shouldn'ts and just say, this is what I'm observing, and how do I support that? So, and then next, this is what I'm observing about me, and how am I supporting my healing process through my sinus infection by saying, oh, there I go again. You know, I'm spiraling again. I literally said that, I'm spiraling again, because, you know, I brought in this sinus infection again. I didn't take care of myself. I didn't, I should have. And I went, whoa, I literally felt that spiral. And then when I read this chapter last night, I'm kind of going, oh, okay, now I understand that. You know? And so this whole thing about being in the actuality of now, as opposed to, this is what I'm experiencing. Okay, what do I do now? I go, oh, there I go again. I created this again for me. What did I do wrong? And what did, you know, and I'm thinking that to me was a spiraling example.
Yeah. You brought up the actuality of now. I think for me it breaks the so-called habit, the unconscious cycle that we put ourselves through. But being in the actuality of now, you are, and in the I know, you know, you cannot bring the past cycle into the present. So that's what I love about it, and I love being in the actuality of now. You know, but sometimes I like the drama in my life, and I go back there. What do you think, Aldi? What in this chapter? Yeah, I mean, you being in the actuality now, you know that you're a creator. You know that you're responsible for everything. Everything. And so you kind of, when you think about that, I say, oh, I cannot be. I'm not not responsible. And you know what? It's right, Aldine? Oh my
I
goodness.
find that there's a lot of humor in it when you're in the actuality of now.
That's right.
There's just a lot of humor, and a lot of times I end up smiling because you see something play out and then you remember what you would have done in the past, just like you saying, and then you smile to yourself and say, oh, that's interesting. And here you've already moved forward, which is wonderful. Which is just wonderful.
That's interesting, because then I said to myself, literally, there I go again.
Oh,
And then the laughter, so that element of laughter, this is a process, healing is a process. And when I caught myself and said, there I go again, and then I laughed, as opposed to, oh, there I go again, and then I berate myself. Those are two different,
That's a balancing
experience.
factor.
yeah.
You praise yourself, then you berate yourself. You praise yourself.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a cycle.
And it's catching. What I did was I caught myself.
Right. Great.
And then I could laugh. So then when I read that part about, as opposed to spiraling, then you jump to the next circle, the next cycle. And then when I read that part, I go, I did it. I jumped to the next one.
Gail, you have some wisdom to share with us, and how the weave of the sixth sense, weaving the sixth sense into what's it called? Weaving cycles with the six senses. Have you had an aha moment?
Sometimes I have aha moment.
Can they hear you?
I don't think so.
Well, then we gotta share. You gotta share.
Come join us.
I like to hear.
We're appreciative of your wisdom.
Oh, while she's coming up, I'd like to invite you to either share in the chat room your own insights about this topic.
Well, we got two people in there. Sandra Zabarsky and Cheryl McGill.
Oh,
Cheryl.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Well, this is a interesting movement that we've made ourselves to think about the actuality of now. But for me, it's sometimes like I have to about the judging the self, and I know that I'm doing it, and sometimes I even what is that with my parents. So they're teachers to us, and those are the things that we brought through with us. Lessons to learn, lessons to have fun, lessons to understand that movement within ourselves. The movement, I mean, is the balance.
Is what?
Is the balance, the movement. 'Cause it doesn't keep you stuck, but keeps you moving
Oh, okay.
and feeling that energy flowing. So it tells us anyway, it just tells us if we're in the stuck mode, it tells us. And I think that's the things that we have to listen to and yet have fun with it. Because if something's so wonderful to know about our sixth sense, we always have the beauty and the honor to have fun, to have that feeling of bringing that out of ourselves. And I think that's what we do in our mastermind group, that we all have that ability to keep it flowing. Okay.
That's good.
I got a
Thank you,
question.
Gail. That was
I got a
good.
question for you. So when you're in that stuck mode,
I can say something about that.
and okay, and then you're in the stuck mode, then you have to balance it, right? So do you think that sixth sense kicks in
I think
when you're
it's-
in the stuck mode?
I think.
So
it,
then and then something within you say, okay, stop it already. You know, you have enough. You learned enough of being in the stuck mode, and then so the sixth sense kick in. So,
I
so
think-
that shifts you to the
sixth
more
sense
positive.
is already there. You know, it's there for us, and it's up to us to choose, because we have that ability to get out of that stuck mode.
But you
somehow-
got to be aware first that you are in a stuck mode. So what makes you aware? Is it the sixth sense that you are? That's something your sixth sense says. Oh, you're perpetuating being in the stuck mode, and now it's time to get out.
I think it's, like I said, it's already there, but we, in a certain sense, seem like it, we didn't feel the positivity or the feeling of understanding the situation. So when we get into that aha mode, then I feel that's like you're telling yourself, that's what it is. And then there's another part that would show you the part that, I can't think of the word, but anyway, show you the part where you are getting out of that stuck mode. Just about a couple hours ago that happened with me. Before you folks came in here, I was in that stuck mode. And so when you come out with that question, how's the internet or whatever, you know, I get into that stuck mode. I went, why do I bring that in here? Why did I cause this? And maybe it's not about causing it. It's about healing it.
Mm.
So, see, I told you with you folks, you helped me, so thank you.
Perfect.
You said two things that really stuck out for me is that the sixth sense is within us. So it's innate within us. Yet we have these feelings of being so-called stuck. And then you also said movement. So there's movement in our thinking patterns, and there's movement in our physical body, and our emotional body, and our spiritual body. So you had the realization that something's not quite right. It doesn't feel right. So that's your emotional body saying, oh, okay, something's not right. But then part of your mental body goes, I want to get out of this. And then when you say, I want to get out of this, there's the movement. And that's when, as you were talking, that's when I thought the spirit body, the sixth sense, was coming back into the picture, or coming to the forefront. And it's kind of like I'm going to use the word habit, because we learn this habit of being in whatever mode we're in that causes us to feel stuck. And it's a learned habit. But then if you go the learned habit, and then you get the innate habit or innate wisdom of being in the sixth sense, and that's the balancing that you brought up earlier.
So being stuck is part of the cycle of understanding what you're going through. But then I also think, my thought, that there has, if we get stuck, so in a situation, there must be a reward for being there, right? For being in the staleness of the moment. There must be a reward, right? What is the reward? Does that mean not facing the problem? What does that mean? If that sixth sense is innate in us and we have that available, then being stuck in a situation has to have a reward, right?
Maybe the reward is bringing your attention to that stuckness, because whatever is causing the stuckness,
I like you.
that is where you need to focus. And then you can smile and say, oh my, I guess I didn't look at this in a different perspective, or I can look at this in a different perspective. So there's always usefulness as we grow into ourselves. Don't you think? I think it's very clear.
I think you hit on it, or I'm really thinking about the innateness of being in the sixth sense. It's not developing, because all along I said, I got to develop my sixth sense. I got to develop my sixth. As when I joined the church, I go, I got to develop it. I'm not developing, but it's always and I remember asking Kahu about that, and he goes, if you tell yourself you don't have it, you don't have it. And I think, and the simplicity of his word at that moment, is what is sixth sense? Intuitiveness. What is sixth sense? Knowingness. What is sixth sense? Self-love. And all of that. And I'm thinking like, okay, so those words come back to me now and again. Kahu said, well, if you say you're not, you're not. And so I remember one session she talked about smiling. And I shared this with you, Gail, because I've been working on it myself. He says, smile at least 15 times a day. So I'm counting the times, that, I smiled, And then he also said, before you do anything, in that same session, he said, smile before you do anything. So it's kind of like, the other day I was saying, I got to sweep, because it's trash night, and I want to sweep all the dust and rubbish out of my house. And then it was the gotta, as opposed to smile and say, I get to have a clean house.
So is that a cycle?
That is a cycle.
So you need that cycle of what, yin and yang to move within a
The
cycle.
duality
It's
of it.
The duality of the cycle. How interesting.
Yeah. So that it went from I have to because, as opposed to I get to get a clean house.
So then, what then is, how does being in actuality of now improve our stay here on earth? Can we exist without the duality here? Can we, without going through yin and yang?
I'd like to say yes, but then I remember Kahu and Master Pearl saying, "You came to the earth plane to experience the duality."
Yeah, but we got in the process of our journey, but I feel that now it's time to spend more time in the actuality of now. And I think this is why this subject is brought up, because we need, in order to move forth, recycle. What's mentioned in this chapter: dimensions, cycles merging on our planet, cycles in using multiple DNA strands. I mean, that will take 6 senses to even understand that. Like this, I like this dimensional cycles merging on our planet, because we need all the senses to really appreciate what's going on, right? Because the third dimension and the fourth dimension are coming together. It's cycling that way. And maybe that's where all our so-called challenges is coming from. When we acknowledge that that's what's happening, the fourth light, and it is merging into our third dimensional reality, and that's where our challenging to push forward. And it will take all six of the six senses to move forth. And for myself anyway, and there's no time to just be in to utilize only our five senses when we have the sixth sense already. I mean, consciously aware. So, and that has to be in the present. You got to use all six senses. What do you guys think? You got something?
Okay, so again, wonderful segue, just wonderful, wonderful. I'm on page 170, and I'm under dimensional cycles merging on our planet, which was what you were relaying or being able to talk about. And I'm on the third paragraph. On your planet at this time is the weave formulating the cycle of the third dimensional thought process, which we were just discussing. Your planet is an example of two cycles merging on a certain level. The cycle of your current day vibration and that of the Lemurian. And it is highly evident. The Lemurian vibration was more aligned to the fourth dimensional evolution. And again, I remind you not to get overly involved with the numbers, but to focus on the enlightenment of that thought. And so I have a show and tell. So let's see. Patty, may I have Kahu's scarf? Okay.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yes.
Oh, wait.
And then I'm going to need some camera work from our camera person in order to weave. Okay, so here we are. We are this fabric, and we take our five senses. So if you look at the weave, right, there are plain threads, and then there are sparkly threads. But it's not all sparkly. It's plain threads and sparkly thread. And when I woke up this morning, I heard the word lurex. And lurex is, I think, a relatively new product where they put cotton threads or regular threads with metallic thread, just like you see in Kahu's scarf. So Gail Jan said that we arrive on this planet already with six senses. We're this scarf. You see, we have our sparkles because we're this scarf. What happens when we begin to understand how wonderful it is to weave our five senses with the metallic pieces that are in here? We can actually, and if Giljan can turn the camera to this beautiful tapestry here, do you see, if you have lurex dense fabric, do you see the level of sparkle? To me, we're going from the third dimension to the fourth dimension.
Yeah.
And you can do that just by understanding this density of lurex from the two fabrics. Isn't that fun?
Wow.
And here, you know, on my professional career, I was in retailing for 7 years because I had to pay for my schooling. But look at how much it taught me outside of saying, how may I help you in? Just amazing. It's amazing. Life is amazing.
I got to think about that one, but you got something there.
Yes.
Because we are a weave of
Yes.
multi-dimensional.
Yes, yes. Just like Giljan
colors.
said, we're here. We're Kahu's scarf. And what's cool is, if you notice, this metallic is more silver, and that metallic is more gold, and there must be copper, and there must be brass. I mean, we're all different kind of hues of sparkleness. Amazing.
That's the sixth sense. The sixth sense, just listening to you, is what allows us to experience the awe in whatever we see or feel or touch. I don't think a young baby will go, oh wow, I can smell the flower. Oh wow, I can touch the petal. You know, it's just like they experience a flower or whatever it is in front of them. They go, wow, I wonder what that is. You know, so that's the awesomeness of the sixth sense, which Gail brought forth that and you did too. We all came onto this earth playing with. I'm understanding this as on a whole new level.
So you're saying that when we really truly understand that our sixth sense is already woven, that we are in awe of our journey here on earth.
And we can actually jump. So it was talking about jumping from the third to the fourth. And when you jump to the third to the fourth, we end up like those golden, all the gold there. And we're even more sparkly.
That's beautifully put.
Yeah, and you know, it's not, and everybody can do it.
And,
It's
and
not,
more is available to you. You know, I think when you understand the cycles of life, that when you understand the cycles of being human, and you up your journey to a new level, wow.
there's a book that was put out by Doreen Virtue, and she did a lot of, before she did a lot of metaphysical work, she did a lot of counseling. And the book she put out was Don't Let Anyone Dull Your Sparkle. And I just love the title of that book. Because here you are, see, sparkle, 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 and you can even be more sparkly. Don't let anyone dull your sparkle.
So going through your cycles mean to see the sparkles in your life.
Or understanding your
Or
cycle.
experience.
Yeah, realizing that you are sparkly.
Which then, as it says in the book, that it allows us to go from one circle and jump to the next cycle, as opposed to spiraling.
Mm-hmm. And scientifically, I actually see the motion of atoms, and as the atoms, or as they get more excited, then they're jumping all over, and that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing these different circles, and as they get more energized, they jump into another area. Anyway, it's really fun.
Well, I think that's the calmness that Kahu felt about being on the third dimension, because nothing really rattled him. You know, when there's something that he didn't like in a person, he would say, I would ask him, well, aren't you going to say anything? I said, what can I do? It's their journey. You know, it's like, it's their cycle. How do I change the cycle? How do I jump in? You know, like when you do jumping rope. Yeah. When do you jump in a person's cycle, you know? It's not even your place to jump into the cycle. And I realized this about Kahu, that he allowed that person to be, you know, to be where they are. You know, like the anger, being angry and being, the emotions it's like 90-minute cycles, right? It's not, he finally understood that when I get angry, you know, at him, especially at him before, I had to go through the cycle. Otherwise, even if I was in the middle of my cycle of being angry, I would get more angry, and then a new cycle begins. And it will take me longer to get over that cycle. So he learned through time that when I was angry, that he would allow that 90 seconds of cycle of anger emotions to follow through. And you know what? That works. That really works.
That-
So
Amazing.
That brings to mind the three principles, the three C's of clarity, communication, and bringing completions. If let's say Kahu went and go, what's wrong with you? Why are you in that cycle again? What are you experiencing at that moment? Are you allowed to go through the cycle of whatever you're experiencing? And maybe that whole thing about, and I remember my son saying to me, Mom, let them solve their own problem. I was watching him with 2 children. Let them solve their own problem. And he was there observing, and then there was a cycle, and lo and behold, the 3-year-olds completed that cycle. They were able to communicate, and then they brought some kind of completion. Might not have been my way of completing it, but they came to a completion, which then took them to the next cycle of, we're friends again. We got mad at each other and we're friends again. So that's the cycle of a preschooler. I get mad and then I yell or I throw a toy and then I talk about it and then I'm complete with it. So it's like
I
Kahu
like that.
gave you that gift of going through the way I'm seeing it now. If I was in the middle, I might not have seen it that way. But as an outsider, Kahu gave you that gift of completing that cycle. So that you got to the peace, then you were able to get to the next new cycle of beingness.
I think that's nature. That's nature. If we understand the cycles, the different cycles of life, it would be. I think that's how this event brought me to this awareness that in order to move up to the new level of understanding, to go into the 4th dimension, thinking or thought process, we must weave the 6th sense. Otherwise, the 5 senses is just for the 3rd dimension. And everything seems to be coming together for me. So when they downloaded this information for this program, I said, huh? I really don't understand this, but through reading the whole chapter, it expanded my awareness of, because I always pray, okay, when am I going to get this? When am I going to get this? When am I going to get this? And I'm using only the 5 senses, and I cannot get there without the 6th sense. So amazing realization. So that's the magic I like to call it. The magic, strand? The magic strand to
Lyrics.
for lyrics. Another. So.
And I think what you're saying is actually how this paragraph or the intention of this paragraph comes from Master Carol. He says, some of you may be breathing beautifully and some of you may even have tears in your eyes, not for what I'm saying, but for what you are feeling that I am saying. Hear this if you would. You are not alone. You can feel each other if you really want to. You don't have to hold hands to feel it, to sense the beauty. Imagine that there's someone in the other room. Imagine just reaching your light, your lyrics, your fabric to him, to her, and touching the other person in his or her own cycle and sharing that cycle together. And I think what you were just talking about was like perfectly explaining this.
I thought of Kahu and Master Corel shining their light on you in preparing for this. When I read that, I thought of you and Kahu and Master Corel. I know every month you go through, and every Sunday service you go, okay, what am I going to talk about? But then that's an example of how their cycle is weaving with your cycle. And I remember also that as we evolve, so do the angels. They evolve. So in that, I was in tears when I saw it, because I also thought about Peter. You know, how his cycle of evolution is not separate from mine. It is in a sense, yet, but we're connected. My cycle and his cycle of evolution is connected, as my cycle is connected with your cycle and the Aldine cycle and Gail's cycle and other people in the world.
Well, I have to think about that, because we're all at different cycles.
Yeah.
So it's about understanding.
Yeah.
To me, that's we're not always at the same cycle.
No.
You
Okay.
know.
It's just that I'm saying the cycles, not the same cycles. That we have cycles that intertwine, like the weave. Like the weave, the cycles intertwine.
And the
It's
geometry of it.
Yeah.
Right? Because if one cycle and then here's the other cycle and then there's a part that looks the same, you know, where they're sharing part of the cycle, there's all this geometric, so sacred geometry comes into play. It's a very cool concept to be able to just sit back and have thoughts about.
In that process, we expand our awareness to say, hey, there's more to life. You know, for myself, it's like, okay, for me, being in the actuality of now is my where I need to be to expand. And I was watching this thing on Netflix. It was it's just what you talk about cycles. We say we do so much, we talk about healing past lives, right? And past lives, because we did this, we did that, so now we have to come here and balance it. So, and when I heard that, I go, yeah, we probably did so many, we really brilliantly did all the dark times, dark activities. And then so we're here in this lifetime to balance it. Oh, we had a good time being on the dark side of life. We think about that. We're not, for myself, I was not always a goody two-shoes, you know? And we're all that way.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all there. You got to think of it that way. So in this lifetime, I have recommitted to balancing that dark side of myself to the light side of myself. And I have recommitted to do that, and while I'm still here on earth, to age my soul. To think that we are all goody two-shoes in the past life. No, otherwise we wouldn't be here, right? We would be in seventh heaven or whatever. So when I thought about it that way, I go, wow. So I recommitted myself to this lifetime and say, okay, I'm going to do my best to balance the scale. And we talk about women, and we were persecuted because we used our abilities to help people, and people back then didn't understand us, so we were burnt, or we had our heads chopped off. I thought about it. We could have been the persecutor.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about that. Did you?
Mm-hmm.
You thought about that? I never did. I go, wow. I always thought that I was the one that they did things to, that unpleasant things to, but I could have had many lifetimes where I did the chopping of the heads and all that. So this lifetime, then I understood. Something sunk in my brain that said, yeah, now it's time to balance the scale. And I know that this is what cycles bring to my awareness. We need that sixth sense to raise our vibration and to understand that there are cycles going on within us, and we can be peaceful, right? I love this one. That's part of the that's part of the chapter, cycling into using the multiple strands of DNA. Now that excites me. That excites me. Because you know what? When we actively charge the fourth, what is it? The
Third and fourth strand of DNA.
the silver and gold strand.
Third and fourth.
My goodness, our life will change. We don't have to play that duality game anymore and start playing new games in life, so to speak. So, how about that, gang? Can we do that? And you know what? With the activation of the fourth and the I like to call it the silver and the gold strands, we can heal anything. We can heal anything. We can start moving from the third dimensional process into the fourth light. And we're halfway there anyway. We're already, if all those on the spiritual path, especially to me if you have been with Master Kahu and Kira for a while, you're already there. It's just that what hurts us is we keep going back and forth. So, so what do you guys think about that? You know?
Are there any shares?
In the chat.
Cheryl and Sandra, they have quite an interesting share.
Oh, good.
How can we get the mic to you? Oh, they're having their own fun discussion over there.
They are very, very interesting.
Well, Cheryl and Sandra, I'm glad that
Well, Gail is
you're sparkling out there.
Sparkle. Sparkle on.
With Sandra, I guess Cheryl talking a lot too. Both of them are. She said, I'm praying that you're feeling. Kahu had, this is Cheryl. Kahu had always had a great joy held in reserve for new discoveries.
yeah.
He made it easy. I want that joy and peace not just for myself, but for all who struggle. Patty Athena says, with silver and gold strands, we can heal anything. I say, go platinum.
What was that part?
Gold. Platinum.
Yeah.
Platinum.
So-
maybe that's the fifth and the sixth.
Well, you know, I think that's why Master Kirill and Kahu brought this up, because it's time. You know, it's time to be consciously aware, or conscious creators to be aware of the different cycles that's going on within us. And yes, sure, the duality is a cycle in itself, but then, you know, sometimes we have to leave that already, you know, and say, oh, yeah, I really screwed up in the last lifetime, so here I am, trying to balance the scale and not have to go back there and not having to realize, go into deep details on what happened. Why did they chop off my head, or why did I chop off somebody's head? For being the person they want to be on earth. It's enough of that already. Utilize our six senses and make our lives better. I think that's what this event is all about. And yeah, sure, you want to stay in the depression mode, that's fine, because there must be something in there. that you have not realized yet. So don't judge yourself fairly too much. Just be there as long as you can. But you know what? The world is more exciting when you utilize your sixth sense.
And I think what you can do is begin to realize that you can always celebrate those little movements forward. Always celebrate
How
the
do you
movements
celebrate?
forward.
How do you celebrate?
For me, it's the smiling and laughing and just sitting back and saying, "Oh my," and then it's more that kind of stuff. I think that's the celebration of moving forward. And you can do it. I mean, it's not something that you have to have money for or anything. I like your 15 smiles a day. That's really cool, because there's always some lesson that you actually get to observe as you're out about in the world. And once you see that, that's like kind of amazing.
It is, yeah. That you don't have to complain about how the world is. And then you can say, I can say, oh, they're in their own cycle, I have my own, that I have to concentrate on. So it's just allowing that person to be where they are. So cool, yeah?
Yes.
So let's activate our sixth sense and let's move on in the actuality of now, in the I know. And together, let's make our world even a brighter, more fun place to be. What was that word?
Lyrics is the metallic thread that we're actually, to me, lyrics is the sixth sense. It's this metallic thread that we put with all our other senses, the other five senses, and that when we put multiple pieces of lyrics or this metallic thread, put multiple pieces, we actually sparkle to the point of shining so brightly that will make people notice. And I think we do. Even just smiling at somebody walking down the street, unless you're in some country that you're not supposed to do that. But if you're in the U.S., smiling is okay.
I was watching a Hallmark movie that the American lady was saying hi, and she was in some European country, and then her friend said, "You don't smile to people.
Yes.
They're going to think you're very strange." And I kind of went, "Oh, that's quite interesting." So there's different cultural practices out there, but we go with a smile anyway. We smile in our heart. So
That's the healing part of us, the healer part of us, I think we are on a beautiful journey of this great shift in consciousness. Yeah, if you want to be in the depression mode, go ahead, because there's something that you need, but don't stay there too long, because you're missing a lot of life. And then, so you have to ask yourself, what's your reason? I think every day one should ask, what is your reason to live, for living, yes, we should all do that.
Or how can I best age my soul today? Wouldn't that be cool?
So,
Gail, what did you tell me today on the phone when I said one affirmation to you, and you said, I was reminded that Master Carell said, you're better today than you were yesterday. As opposed to going into, my nose is still stuffy, I'm still congested, and it's like, I remember Kahu just drilling that into me. And you said another affirmation. What was that?
I am happy to be alive.
Oh,
I am happy to be
the simplicity
alive.
of I am happy to be alive. Yeah.
Oh, and she's doing a jig. If you see her behind the camera, she's doing a jig.
So I'm sure. I just think like when I come here at 11:30, I always stop at the door and I look at the sign which has our mission statement, which is heal the self and heal the world. And so today I'm getting a different awareness of when you said the sacred geometry and the spheres, I literally saw that, so every night we come here and we're working on healing ourselves and then sharing light, the mastermind of sharing light and love to the people who ask for prayers and healing. And so that emanates, and that we're creating a space where they can go from one cycle to the next cycle. And that really, I got excited last night when I thought of that. And then the other thing I'm doing is that I'm enlightening that sign, so anybody who looks up at the sign will feel the energy of healing. So it's a different cycle of awareness of what I can do. I never thought of lighting the sign up every time I see it, but
Good
the
idea.
other night I thought of it. So that was a new cycle for me of how do I create a cycle of love and healing. So it's on the little moments of what am I doing that creates that moment of healing, or that moment of joy. And I was reminded to look at the little moments.
I like this paragraph here, and let's write up. It says, imagine a cycle that gives you the opportunity to take your 5 senses, smell, touch, taste, feel, and sight, all of which you've brought here to this beautiful planet called Earth, and weave them together until they form a magical thread. Lures. The magical thread called the sixth sense. Then imagine that you could develop the future rather than just see it. Or imagine that you could recognize the lessons that you've learned from the past rather than dwell in the past. Imagine feeling no regrets or pains about the past, not feeling as though, I want to forget that part. Imagine recognizing that every step you take was in service to the God Creator. You'd understand that this sixth sense that you've woven together, you'd understand that you understand this sixth sense that you've woven together. And in this, you understand the time of Lemuria, where the heartbeat of Mother Earth was a way of life, not a curiosity. So check your heartbeat with Mother Earth, check your heartbeat with Father Sky, check your heartbeat with the love of the Goddess Light. And know today that those reading my words enter a new cycle of awakeness to the thread of the magical thread of the sixth sense. Woohoo! We in this beauty, we love our magical journey. Everything is, we create in this community of the Honolulu Church of Life in the beauty, we create a space for magic to create miracles. And here it is, my confirmation that we are doing it. So I want you,
No, you can finish.
So I want you all, to those who are listening, and to the two that's in the chat room, Cheryl and Sarah. Sandra. So yeah, you have that magical thread. Just weave it into your everyday life, and let's make a difference in your life first. And when people see you sparkle, they would want the same thing, and your sparkle would create a magical space for them to heal and to create a life that they really want to enjoy.
So I just want to say a big thank you to you, because you always, when you write your write-ups, they always give me the tingle inside.
Oh,
And you know, it's so beautiful that you give us women an opportunity to say something. So I want you to go out there and tell the women of the world they are being listened to.
Thank you.
Very
That is what the
nice.
beauty is about. And I love the prayer, Carol's prayer, because that's my journey. Every day, 2 times a day, to me, that's the goddess journey.
I love it.
And it's what I pray. That's my only prayer, is to do this journey that Master Carol has prayed for, is sent us to me. Sent me. I take it seriously. So far it's made a difference. Let's do the closing right now. Do you guys have any last words?
I just want to, Gail was sharing, I remembered in one of the past sessions, Master Kirill, you had said something to Master Kirill after he answered your question. She goes, "Oh, good, does that mean I can go home to the Creator now?" And then he stopped and he said, "No, we have other plans for you." And then I never understood it back then, but then today I got a different understanding of what that meant.
Yeah.
After Gail's share. So thank you for deciding to stay and being, how do I want to say this? Being the role model, so to speak. Mentor, example of Goddess Light, and you're in the forefront, you're doing the journey at least 3 times a month as you do the write-ups, and so I acknowledge you for that.
Well, thank you guys. I think you all have been supporting me through this since Kahu left the earth plane. But what I want to say is that, see, I have gathered all the pieces, and so have you. The pieces of the puzzle. What I got a chance to do since Kahu left would place each piece in one at a time, and then I look back. Why I did that? Because I wanted to not lose a connection with Kahu and Kiro. And lo and behold, I understand now, and I know now that I can only reach them with the 6th sense. With the 6th sense, a magical thread, and because of that, I'm solid to know that they're still part of me. And I'd like for you to know that whoever you loved let's see, you thought you lost connection because they left the earth plane. No, you haven't. Weave the 6th sense in, and you will, and wow, and you can reach them. They are part of me. Kahu is still part of me. Both of them, Kahu and Kiro. And you know what? I get scoldings, yeah. And sometimes I would say, okay, I just want to do the drama right now, okay? But you know what? The dramas get shorter and shorter. And yes, I used to say, okay, 5 more years or 2 more years. And look, I used to say 2 more years and I'm going to join you guys. But then look how fast that 12 months went by, So, and I know, I'm here to age my soul, because I know you guys won't be here for me. I mean, wow, what a beautiful thought that you guys are here just for me. That weave of goddess energy come together, so I can see the spark in you, which would catapult me to the new level of goddess light. How wonderful is that? And thank you for all the accolades, and I do it because I want to age my soul. And slowly but surely, This is a beautiful world to be in, and helping Mother Earth, you know, as I help myself, heal myself into the new world. So I have this new understanding. Hey, I had a good time in the dark side, past life, and I'm going to have a good time being on the light side. So join me. Does that make a difference to you guys? Dean, what's your last word?
Sparkle on.
Sparkle. Sparkle and sparkle. Yeah, weave in that magical thread we call the sixth sense. And I suggest you guys read the chapter 9 thoroughly, because we got to be conscious of the cycle that's going on right now for us. And it's amazing. So you got to gain new perspective on what cycles is about, especially for this year, because this 8-year is a cycle of 8. Every day we go through it. So make love. So love your life, even though at times it might get dark, but then you know what? There's the other side, the light side. Balance it. Remember to imagine a beautiful year. Oh, I'm sorry. You have your last word?
Yep.
Oh, sparkle.
Sparkle on.
I remember. Remember to imagine a beautiful world for yourself, your family, and friends. Your imagination is your preview of your life's coming journey. So if you want to help your family and friends, sparkle. Because there's times coming up where even though the most positive, you know, will need our sparkle. And we give it unconditionally, right? A quote from Kahu: if we focus on our breath, we would be cognizant of the space between each breath, that the quarter of a second or less when we are not breathing, and then in the world of transformation awaits. And that's where it is in that space that the miracle occurs. In any healing, the 5 breath, that quarter of a second, that creates healing. And if you do that continuously, wow, you'll have the healing that you wish. So may you have an opportunity to say Amazing Grace during this great shift in consciousness. Be focused, be mindful of your cycles, especially this year to 2024, so you get ready for 2025. So, aloha, thank you. On behalf of our Goddess community at the Beauty, Kahu Fred Sterling, Master Guide Kiriel, happy Valentine's. Celebrate your truth, trust, and passion by your actions and words. We love you so very much. Thank you for being here for us.
Aloha.
Can you write something to them?
Oh, Amazing Grace.
Please say bye.
Thank you for joining us.